Hopefully my battery lasts out. Hello everybody, and welcome to a very unofficial Tights and Fights podcast panel, because there's only Hal here. For that very reason, we're going to have an unofficial Tights and Fights theme song, instead of sung by Mike Eagle, sung by me. So we'll try it. Tights and Fights podcast. It's the perfect wrestling podcast. There's a guy named Hal, but where's Danielle? And the guy Mike Eagle's not here as well. Tights and Fights podcast. Tights and Fights. Thank you.
Does everybody listen to Tights and Fights? Some of you do. Some of you just saw wrestling and showed up into a room, right? All right.
That seemed real bizarre then, without context.
Yeah,
just thinking that randomly.
For anybody here who's not familiar, I'm one of 3 co-hosts of a show called Tights and Fights on the Maximum Fun Network, where we talk about wrestling each week with the sincerity and hilarity that it deserves. It's me, comedian Danielle Radford, and Open Mike Eagle. It's a really good, fun listen. It's less than an hour every week. So check it out when you're done here, whether you like what you hear from us or not.
Yeah. We thought we loved this podcast so much, we'll take the one white guy and ask him questions.
The fine tradition of podcasts. Finally, now we've got the version where it's 2 white guys talking about wrestling. Our voices will be heard at last.
So what we did is we asked everybody on the Tights and Fights Facebook group, which you're not a member of, you should go be a member of, questions for us today. I have written them all out, I've handwritten them, and put them into this bun bag, this fanny pack, and we will be pulling them from this today. We're going to answer them one every 2 minutes, Royal Rumble style. I couldn't figure out how to do a really good, thingy for this, so I'm just using the clock app on my iPad. So yeah, like every Royal Rumble, it's gonna be like a kind of fake thing. And when we're done with a question, we'll just jump to the next one.
All the work, all of it's a work.
So our first question from the board is best second in wrestling. So like manager, valet, animal, mascot. I don't know who the mascot is.
Well, Matilda was a mascot. Matilda the bulldog.
No, Matilda's an animal though. She's an animal.
Also a mascot.
I feel like
animals that are mascots.
I feel like a mascot has to be like the bunny who accompanied Adam Rose to the ring, like in one of those costumes and stuff.
Oh, do you guys want fun inside info that probably everybody knows at this point?
Sure.
The guy who was in the bunny suit that never got revealed was Justin Gabriel. I know that from inside the company. A source inside the company told me that.
That's the
now
most.
He's gone, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and it was the most airtime he got in a long time.
Yeah. Well, so what would you say is your favorite second?
Matilda the Animal is really great. I'm the first ones that come. Well, Paul Heyman is amazing. I mean, because he's just gonna be a mouthpiece for anybody, so he's really good. I always remember what was the really I don't remember her name now, unfortunately, because it's morning. The really scary.
Sean.
Yes. You knew exactly who I was thinking of.
I did.
Luna was brilliant. She scared the crap out of me.
She was great. She was really frightening with Bam Bam Bigelow. Jeez. Bobby the Brain Heenan is my favorite manager of all time. That's kind of a slam dunk. I also really liked, even though she's an accomplished wrestler and that's what everybody should know her for, I loved Lita as a second to S.A. Rios and then the Hardy Boys, because she was a really good wrestler who was just as good, if not better, than some of the people that she seconded. So
but that's
I like that she's somebody who was able to mix it up in all kinds of matches.
But sometimes that kind of bugged me when I knew someone was a really good wrestler, but they weren't getting wrestling matches. They were instead accompanying someone to the ring.
Right.
I do prefer an accompanier to be just that. And that's their job. That's what they're really good at. And that's, again, Matilda the Bulldog, who, she wasn't going to take a body slam.
If somebody who doesn't wrestle, then it's probably Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah. But like, here's the thing: I'm maybe just slightly too young to really appreciate Miss Elizabeth.
That's your problem.
I know. It is. It's
God
true.
rest her soul.
It's true. Because I think when I was that age watching wrestling, what she was doing was kind of going over my head. Like just in general, I was more enamored by like the Ultimate Warrior just running around like a lunatic, because that's what I was doing at that age. I was going
Here's what's great about Miss Elizabeth. She was the white bread kind manager for one of the most dastardly underhanded villains, which you didn't really have, like a face manager for a heel wrestler, and yet she balanced him out without being a hindrance to his gimmick.
We breezed past 2 minutes. I'm gonna have to keep this going this way so I can see it.
Can we do a countdown as you pull it?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
For real though, was Montreal a work or a shoot?
I mean, it's a shoot.
I think so. I mean, like, if they did, they both fooled the documentary team that followed them around.
Oh, Wrestling with Shadows?
Yeah.
I love that. That is such a great... I love Bret Hart.
Oh, yeah.
But it feels like he just hired a documentary crew and then was like, this pretend it's not me. That feels like the work. Wrestling with Shadows feels more like a work than the Screwjob did. I think he legitimately didn't refuse to give up the belt at that show because he wanted to drop it on Monday Night Raw was the story. He was going to drop it the next night.
Yeah.
And Vince was like, can't take the chance, so we're gonna take it off of him. That the question is who knew and who didn't. And over the years, depending on who you ask, a lot of people knew, very few people knew. But yeah, the documentary is not a documentary at all.
I just appreciate Bret Hart as a guy who's like, it's still real to him and he's doing it.
Yes, he's his own greatest mark.
All right. Should WWE have secondary belts for women to expand opportunities and get away from multi-person matches? Oh, anything to get away from a 5-woman match would be amazing. I don't know if that's the right thing to do it.
I don't think they book the divisions well at all. The purpose of the division, I'm just going to talk about 205 Live for a second. It's fucking insane. And it's a similar problem in that show should be about everybody trying to get that belt. And a real division is everybody wrestling, every match, and should have a purpose of somebody trying to elevate themselves. And you can build a ton of angles off of that. So you can have 2 women who have an issue, but it's because one of them is a direct hindrance to the other climbing the ladder to get that title. That title should be the most important thing on the show.
You can mix in some like emotional storyline stuff because it's always fun.
You branch out, so you have a journey to get to the belt, and then you get sidelined, and those are your angles where there's no belt at stake, and you can create really personal stakes out of that.
Yeah.
But I think it has to start. Your goal as a wrestler, as a character, is to reach the pinnacle of your sport, of your organization.
Or even just, be the best. But the thing is that when you only have like 6 women in a division, to have 2 belts is, I think, probably not the ideal way to solve that problem. Also, Vince. Which main roster wrestler is most likely to be a bear disguised in a human costume?
Braun Strowman.
Pretty much. Although Mark Henry is a living teddy bear as well, I feel. So we already know that the bunny was
Justin Gabriel. Sorry guys, I have a heavy metal artist outside. 6 solos for me.
It's CFO $.
Working on new entrance music. It's not going well.
So let's also twist this into probably a way that makes more sense. So we know the bunny was Justin Gabriel. Do we know who the bear was?
I think it just shifted. I think they probably used an actor so that they could, you have to introduce the bear so that later on people can be in costumes. It's not like Edge and Christian dressing up as Los Conquistadors in 2000.
Right.
This is just, let's introduce the suit. At first it's going to be nobody, but then it will be somebody every time.
Do you think...
That's my guess.
like, but if you had to like guess like which guy in the back they're gonna most likely go, here, put on this bear suit, who would you guess it would be? I'm thinking Zack Ryder. Like, it's like, here you go, Zack.
Yeah, it's probably Heath Slater.
Heath Slater. Kurt Hawkins is another very likely candidate. Which is funny because they never really do that with actually the women's division. There's never like a person in a bear costume in the women's division.
And why not?
I know, right? Equality here. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm back on time, guys. This is great. Bullet Club got a cease and desist from WWE. Does this benefit the WWE at all? So for anyone who doesn't know, the Bullet Club like love doing their DX chops and Fuck the Revival and the Too Sweet and all that kind of stuff. So they basically, their whole gimmick is like, do you remember the 90s? So the WWE says like, you need to calm that shit down, you guys, because we own the copyright for all that stuff. So do you think that is a benefit to WWE, or do you think that just makes them look bad?
I think it makes them look like assholes.
Yeah.
If anything, it draws more attention to the Bullet Club.
Right, because then people are who don't probably follow New Japan or anything like that, are gonna see a news article on one of their wrestling websites going, WWE, oh, I like them, are suing these guys. What?
And you only have to read about it for 2 seconds and go, oh, AJ Styles is in the book. Oh, Finn Balor. I like both of those guys. I should check out the rest of them.
The club are in.
But I mean, I understand that. I understand that from a corporate standpoint, they're trying to protect their intellectual property. But I think that's they look at it as a black and white pursuit of we have pieces of paper copyrighted this and that. They don't. I don't think they think about how it's going to look from a public relations standpoint. They're too big. They can't lose a lawsuit really like that. Because they would bury the other party in costs. The amount of money they have is incredible.
And I think too is that like, I don't know if it's like a bit of a petty thing on WWE's part, because if you look at it like most Monday Night Raws or SmackDowns, the Bullet Club t-shirts are like half the crowd.
Yeah.
And they tried to buy like half the Bullet Club. They hired half the Bullet Club to try and think like, oh, we'll just take them all in and then we'll be able to squash it. And it somehow got bigger.
Yeah. Aren't there like 900 guys in the Bullet Club?
I'm in the Bullet Club, did you know that? Yeah, thank you very much. All right. What do you think is the most detrimental crutch in storytelling?
Like, what is the one thing that they lean on that they should stop leaning on?
Yeah, that's not really working out for them. Like, that's kind of actually ruining the story when they lean on it. I'm trying to think.
I have 2 things.
I think 20-minute promos are really something that they lean on way too hard that most of their guys can't do. And I think that's why people like Bailey get booed when they really shouldn't. Like they should actually be protecting people. And I know there's that idea of, well, they won't learn unless they do it. But I think you can tell who can naturally do it and who can, like, because like no one would have made, again, the Ultimate Warrior do a 20-minute promo at the start of Raw for good reasons. But yeah, what do you think?
The thing that drives me nuts that they've been doing a ton lately is hot-shotting titles, which doesn't give you anything to build off of. It doesn't give you a champion to chase. It weakens the division instead of strengthening it, because you want. I mean, look at the NXT women's division, where you had a variety of challengers and women trying to get to the point where they can challenge Asuka for the title.
Right.
And her being injured, while it's unfortunate, I think that division is way strong enough that whoever winds up with that title will be able to carry it for a longer period of time. But that's the way they book. The NXT is booked pretty well.
Oh yeah, I think it's the best thing that WWE are doing at the moment.
Yeah, that drives me nuts, and just this doesn't apply to everybody. But the way they book Bray Wyatt, I don't believe a thing he says anymore. I know he is going to at best come out 50-50 in a feud. None of his threats hold any water. You just expect him to lose all the time. So they've completely taken his teeth away, and he already was like, well, I really like him, but his promos don't make a ton of sense. But I trust that he's going to get us there somehow. I don't feel that way anymore, which is a shame, because I think he's a talented guy, and he's one of those guys who could live his gimmick, but doesn't really. If you watch him interviewed outside of it, he doesn't maintain it. Kevin Owens does a way better job maintaining his gimmick than Bray Wyatt does, although it's a lot easier for Kevin Owens than it would be for Bray Wyatt. If he had to like do that spider walk in a mall, that would be kind of tough for him.
Can I get get some chicken and waffles. Could WWE survive on the network alone? Which I think they're leaning towards a little bit, because they're very rarely even mentioning that pay-per-views are outside of the network anymore. Like, because I know that when the network started, like JBL, like a dick, because JBL's a dick, used to always say, like, you know, well, if you're gonna pay this much money on it, like, for pay-per-view, you're an idiot. You should sign up to the network. So, like, I got the impression just from that alone that they wanted to survive off the network alone. But I remember Punk saying that the numbers didn't exactly match up as far as, like, you know, that working for them and profit-wise. Do you think it's even a good idea?
I could imagine maybe 50 years down the road, or maybe sooner, but right now they're just trying to drive people to the network because that's a consistent source of revenue. But I don't think it's necessarily, there's growth, but it's not growth at the rate they were expecting. And they need TV right now because they reach a wider audience, and there's revenue that they pull in from there. So I don't think, just from a business standpoint, I don't think it's fiscally viable.
Yeah.
They have. I'm sure that they have a break-even point and a profit point for subscribers. I don't think they're near there yet. And if you follow their quarterly reports and annual financial reports, it's sort of what I'm saying, I think, kind of backs up to that.
Yeah, in the UK they're on TV still, and I think like they're desperately trying to break into India and China, as we know. And I don't think you can do that by just asking them to sign up to the network. You have to put them on TV and make people free to air.
Yeah, right now 90% of the revenue comes from Rocket League, I think. Guys, remember when it used to be lugs?
Which title would you? I always feel like it's a weird punchline to your thing when I just go. Which title would you want to hold if you were a wrestler, and why? I think we both have the same answers to this.
1, 2, 3.
Intercontinental title. Yeah.
It's the workers' belt.
It's where your favorite guy usually gets his belts. Like who, you know, because it's a long time before the guys that I've always liked has ever gotten a sniff at the main title. Because I like the smaller, hard-working guys. Ty Dillinger, please, somebody give Ty Dillinger a fucking title shot, please. But yeah, and also it's like the prettiest belt now at this point.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like the Attitude Era design a lot with the oval center plate. But a lot of my favorite matches of all time were Intercontinental title. My favorite match is Steamboat Savage from WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
Again, like they were the guys, those are the people who were either being groomed or they could go out and put on a really good match and potentially a match of the night. And that's held, even though it doesn't hold true for every single person who's had the belt.
Right.
But in general, you can historically been able to depend on good performance from them.
Yeah, it's usually like they're one of their most entertaining guys for one reason or another who they just don't want to put in the title picture. Like, for example, Miz. Miz isn't an amazing worker in the ring, but like he's a great talent to have, and you can kind of put a title on him and know you're going to get your money's worth.
He's better than people give him credit for in the ring.
I can't forget Daniel Bryan pointing out something, and now I see it every time there's a match. Daniel talked about if someone dives to the outside and the guy on the outside is supposed to kind of essentially catch you, Miz steps out of the way every fucking time. And now it's all I can see. Is even if there's just 5 people, Miz is just kind of like, yup. Favorite submission holds? It's the excellence of execution. Excellently executes that executed excellent submission. The sharpshooter is one of my favorites. I also think the figure 4 is great because it's got one of my favorite things about submission holds is that you can reverse it, and there's that anticipation of like, oh, is he going to reverse it? Is he going to do it? So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, you can suspend the disbelief that would cause.
I know, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Pressure, like
it's the same fucking move. Like.
I like the old school lion tamer when Jericho would actually hold him up and put his knee into the back of their neck because it looked really painful. I understand why you can't do that in the modern WWE. So now it just looks like he's holding his legs up for the guy. But I also really like Benoit's crippler crossface. That looked really dangerous and painful.
Remind me to edit this out of the video later. But yeah, I also I really like I was gonna say Rusev's, but it predates him by many a year. But the camel clutch, even though you can kind of tell it doesn't hurt at all, and it's just like a guy hovering over you and holding your face. But it just, you can really sell it really well because both people's faces are like visible to the camera, and you can really kind of, yeah, I think that's fun.
If I had to pick an absolute favorite, it would probably be Sasha Banks, the backstabber into the bank statement, because that again looks super painful.
Yeah.
You know.
She's also really good at selling it. It's not like John Cena doing the STF, like just going like,
yeah.
Oh, I like this one. I was hoping this one would come out. In a Breakfast Club alternative universe, what wrestlers are the athlete, the princess, the criminal, the basket case, and the brain?
The basket case is Dean Ambrose.
Oh, have to be 100%. Although he is an alternative for the criminal, because I thought maybe he would be the criminal and the basket case would be Bray Wyatt.
Oh, interesting. I could see Bray Wyatt shaking dandruff onto a drawing done. I can imagine that.
Okay, no, I take it back. Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Nikki Cross is the basket
Cross
case.
Is the basket case.
So is Dean the criminal?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Dean's gotten into some scrapes.
No, the Repo Man is the criminal. Or Chains.
The princess, I feel like, because I'm thinking Molly Ringwald, and I'm thinking, so I have to think of Bailey as the princess.
See, I think it was Nikki Bella. Princess.
There was like a gasp there was an audible gasp from the audience.
Alexa Bliss is a princess as well.
Alexa Bliss, actually, yeah, Alexa Bliss is a much better fit for the princess. And the brain. Bobby Heenan. Yeah, Bobby Heenan, there you go.
Lanny Poffo, I heard the.
Lanny Poffo.
Douglas.
And then the athlete has to be Kurt Angle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or do you want to? Okay.
Yeah. Or his fake black son.
Yeah, if you or Chad Gable, if you're he's another one.
By the way, watching Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin made me realize how small Jason Jordan is. Yeah. Shelton Benjamin looks like the Jolly Green Giant and Sprout. The two of them are standing together. It's incredible.
And he actually forgot how soft spoken he is as well.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, hi guys. That's it's like Nia Jackson, male form.
With his fist.
When Brock leaves, does Paul go to? Also, in parentheses, Heyman is the best. Discuss. But no, of course not. Paul does not leave because Paul wants money. So why would he leave?
Yeah, I can imagine.
That is not a Jewish dig. Just before.
It is now.
I know.
I can imagine them finding something for him to do. I can also imagine him leaving with Brock, one way or the other.
Well, I mean, I just feel like they've done it in the past where they've given him a random guy who needs an assist.
Like Cesaro.
I don't even think Cesaro needs it anymore.
It didn't help him very much then. Because he was a placeholder until Brock came back. And even if he was in that Money in the Bank title match, I think that was his main event.
And Kurt Axel, he seemed at the time like he was a great fit because he's a pretty good athlete, and he's a big guy, so he's someone who the WWE should like, and I think he is fun if you give him the mic, because the whole I'm still in the Royal Rumble thing to this day makes me chuckle.
Axelmania was great until they dressed him up like Hulk Hogan.
No, that was awful.
People chanted it with it. Him going like, Axelmania! Axelmania! It was great. I like guys getting themselves over.
Yeah, but unfortunately Vince hates guys who get themselves over. So what we like is irrelevant. Irrelevant? Are there too many superstars being overlooked on WWE? Have they bitten off more than they can chew? I think the problem is that we love too many of them. I don't even know if there's too many guys being looked over, because we keep making cases for guys like Kurt Hawkins. Is Kurt Hawkins really a main eventer? I don't know. We keep complaining they're not doing enough with Zack Ryder, but should they be doing more with Zack Ryder?
You're always going to have a wrestler who you think deserves more than they're getting. I also think it's impossible to have a main event scene with 30 people in it. Yeah. So, to me, the solution is more clearly defined divisions, so that it means something when somebody goes from being in the U.S. title division to getting tag into singles, that it's less about the Cass and Enzo breakout. What I like about it is you're holding me back. I should be a world champion.
Which made perfect sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That puts him in a division, and it gives him a reason to feud with his old partner. I think that's the issue. They've always had a ton of people on their roster. It's just a matter of figuring out how to spread the appropriate amount of attention to people so that you don't forget about folks. They do a good job of that with Breezango. They're on for a couple of minutes every week, enough that you know that they're there. I wish they were in the ring more because they're both really talented wrestlers.
Yeah. But even if they just like wrestled at every pay-per-view, like I'd kind of be okay with that.
Right.
I think NXT do a really good job of this because their champions don't appear every week. And I think that's like, you know, in a way everyone complains about Brock, and Brock is an more extreme example because he's not there for a month or two at a time. But if you're there every second week or so, it isn't like, oh, the champ is here, this is great, I'm really excited. And it kind of spreads it out, and they're just making better use of their time. Whereas like the Raw goes for 3 hours, but it's still kind of like 6 guys that they highlight, like 6 guys and women that they highlight every week, and you know they could actually like maybe give Reigns a week off and give someone else a highlighted segment, you know, that isn't getting it, and it doesn't have to be a huge deal, but I think it's just time use, and they could be doing that better. I don't think they have too many superstars.
I mean, I love Reigns. I would think about Reigns on TV more as far as I'm concerned. I think he's great.
He's great, but
I think he's getting better at promos. I think he's delivered. It'd be hard. Try and find like a really bad match he's had in the last 12 months.
It's not.
It's not stupid. You can find it, but it's not easy. What NXT does well is it's like the old territory days. The champion will show up and cut some promos. But if you want to see him, thank you. If you want to see him wrestle, or if you want to see the women's champion wrestle, then you have to come to the Dallas Fort Authority on Saturday, July 14th.
Exactly.
It's the events. That's where they wrestle. They're attractions.
Yeah, I'll try not to get too much into the Reigns thing, but I do think he's better when he speaks less because that's his character.
Absolutely.
So don't. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Why don't more modern wrestlers wear face paint? Because it's a pain in the ass to get off when they want to go to the Waffle House afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, ask the Ascension. It doesn't help get people over the way it used to. We're not in a face paint era anymore. It doesn't have the same power it used to.
I don't even know what power it had. I think if you have a gimmick that satisfies it, but those sort of big color gimmicks are kind of gone now.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah. It's so yeah. The benefit of stables and or managers, for example, the Titus stable or like an Enzo one. So
is an Enzo stable?
I was confused by that as well. I was like, is there?
Oh, what would be an
Enzo stable? I guess.
The whole point of stables is to make stars. But that's the point of tag teams too. Mostly, you have teams and you have groups of people to hopefully build everybody into a star, but if you're lucky you get one. In the case of like Nation of Domination, they pretty much all were successful afterwards, some to a lesser extent than others, but The Rock was obviously the big star to come out of that faction. DX also. I
kind of wish they went back to having like 3 or 4 like regulars, like ongoing stables, because I think it's a great way of actually getting more TV time for those guys we were talking about that we don't see as much as we'd like. And I think as well as that, like, there's that team sports element to it where, like, you know, I can get behind these group of guys. You kind of have a easier gimmick kind of thing. I mean, just look at the Bullet Club. Like, you know, they are incredibly popular and successful because, you know, there's a team jersey almost with those guys, and like, you know, you have like your mini versions of each one, and yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm sad that they've kind of pushed it aside over the years.
I think the key is to figure out why they're together in the first place.
Like
that built because the League of Nations was like, none of us are from America. And it didn't work because their gimmicks were so disparate. They also weren't booked particularly well.
No. Well, the Social Outcasts was one that made sense because these are guys who were like hey, we're super popular online, but like these guys don't like us, so they can they have an easy promo to cut of we know the people are behind us, but these guys don't like us in the back, so we're gonna band together and make things work. But again, the creative have to actually give a shit about their stable and give them things to do.
Yeah.
Best wrestler to have a king gimmick.
Jerry Lawler.
That was the Santino Marella of questions.
Yeah, that was his gimmick. Harley Race became a king later. Junkyard Dog was a king for a little while.
Booker T.
Booker T was a king for a little while.
Wade Barrett, West in Peace.
Mabel.
King Mabel,
Yeah.
You can be a manager at WrestleMania. You, Hal.
I can?
You can be a manager at WrestleMania.
Finally! Hold on, let me call my bitch.
But only if you take a slam into thumbtacks. Do you do it?
No.
No.
There are professionals to handle that.
Nothing scares me more than even when the professionals are doing thumbtack stuff. Because everything about it makes me think oh, but what if it gets in I can cut it. No. I freak out.
Guys, I got to meet Mick Foley at the Pentagon, which my can't see right there. Who runs it? He's sitting right there. It's a great fun. I got to moderate his panel. She and I met him, and I got to see how he walks now.
Oh yeah.
I'm not taking any slams on podcasts. I wouldn't do it once. And that guy was like, that was his work week in, week out.
Yeah.
So,
I was at the OTT show about a month ago in Dublin, and Mick was there, and I got to meet him. He was really nice. If anyone doesn't know who OTT are, they're Over the Top Wrestling. They're an Irish brand. One of my favorite, obviously, indie company, but they're a lot of fun. And it went viral that Mick took the cock slam from Joey Ryan, and that was the most shocking moment of the night to me. After seeing Mick walk around and meeting him, to see him do that, I was like, he's gonna die! Don't do it! So yeah, that was genuinely shocking. So yeah, no, I would do the Lego bricks one. I would be slammed into Lego bricks. Because I can't be pierced by it. I don't mind pain so much as it's the idea of something going into my skin.
Oh, is that what you think? You won't be pierced by it? We'll see.
Just like a 4-block brick, stuck in the side of my head. Oh, I'm so happy this came out. Bang, marry, kill. Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind. So thank you for that one. Whoever sent that one in.
Oh, that's easy. You bang Dude Love.
Oh yeah.
You marry Mankind, and you kill Cactus Jack.
I might alternate that slightly, because I feel like Dude Love, he is full of love, and long term, you want that. I think just for one night of crazy sex, Mankind's gonna do some weird shit with you. And he's the one with Mr. Socko, so technically that's a threesome right there. And you have something to mop it up. And then you can try and kill Cactus Jack, but you can't kill Cactus Jack. So
yeah.
He's fine. So I don't have to worry about killing McFoley in any form. But yeah, that's pretty obvious, I think. All right, thanks, guys. Rate the second tier, quote unquote, of US wrestling. So Ring of Honor, GFW. For some reason they put in New Japan, which I think defeats the purpose of US wrestling.
Well, they're doing US shows.
They're coming in, I guess. So we'll count them, and then Lucha Underground, which I know you love, Hal. Can they ever get big enough to challenge WWE?
No, not a shot.
Although
it takes money.
But
if one of them gets $1 billion, then yes. It's not a question of quality or how well a show they put on, how good they do with their shows.
Yeah.
They do not. You need pure capital to do what WWE's done. It took them a while to do it.
Yeah, they've been running for 50 years or whatever. I think also as well is that I don't think they necessarily need to challenge WWE, because if you look at the marketplace, quote unquote, at the moment, I think they're all doing fine. I don't think any of them are really hurting. I think Ring of Honor's doing well. I think New Japan's doing particularly well. Lucha like is a bit of a mess, but like it's it's stable seemingly. And I think just having those alternatives, I think to, my worry is, hi. My worry is that if you actually do get big enough to challenge WWE, WWE will destroy you. Like, just look at their previous competition. Like, ECW and WCW are dead because of that fight to compete. And I think if you don't compete, if you just have your thing over here that can just keep going on its own, I think that's much better in general, because then we have different places that people can, like a Cody Rhodes can go out and do quite well for himself, and not worry about, like, is the company he's going to get shut down. So yeah, I think the way it is at the moment. So okay, now let's rate them. So who do you think out of these 4 examples?
I honestly do not watch enough.
Neither do I.
Which is I watch a lot of wrestling every week because I get paid to talk about it, and I just don't. I'll watch matches here and there, but I wouldn't feel comfortable. I wouldn't feel comfortable ranking them because I don't know enough about them. It'd just be stabbing in the dark.
I'm the same. I could tell you, like, I could rank them in the ones that I've heard the most about.
Ring of Honor #1.
At the moment, it seems New Japan. I'm hearing way more about New Japan right now.
Sure.
Then Ring of Honor, then Lucha, then GFW, and all I'm hearing about GFW is like really shitty things. So it's like, yeah.
Lucha feels less like a promotion to me and more like a TV show.
Yeah, and I think that's good that it's a separate thing entirely.
Yeah, that's not a knock on it at all. It's just it feels like a TV show and not. I don't know how many live shows they're running, if any.
Hal, did you not hear me go?
Yeah, but I wanted to keep talking.
All right. Best worker with the worst gimmick. Who's got the worst gimmick? God damn. Can I get suggestions? Anyone shout out the worst gimmick that they can think of? Yeah.
Sandow, he was actually wrestling with WWE.
Sandow.
You mean when he was changing personalities all the time, or when he was doing the?
When he started doing like maybe Mizdow, he did Mizdow.
Yeah.
And then that little bit of a push got swept away from him.
Yeah.
And then with the whole Macho Man and Hulk Hogan thing,
Yeah.
he was setting up for that, and it looked like that would be great, but then Hulk messed that up.
For anyone on it, because we're recording this for the Facebook group, so we can play later. For anyone who didn't hear that, basically, fuck Hulk Hogan.
I can say that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
What about
Yep.
Dustin Runnels Goldust? I hate Goldust. I despise that gimmick. But
I love Goldust.
No, it's opinion.
that was
It's
just always
opinion.
just rubbing me.
I get
That's why
it.
there's chocolate and golden black.
I felt Stardust was a worse gimmick than Goldust, even though Stardust could have worked because Cody committed like hell and
It
just
worked for a
was
while.
giving crazy promos, but which were fun. But Goldust I like Goldust an awful lot. But Stardust, I don't like any gimmick that's like a kind of a carbon copy of another gimmick.
I have one.
Yeah.
I didn't like the last version of Dolph Ziggler's gimmick. I like Ziggler a lot. I kind of like what he's doing now a little bit more, in that he won't refuse to wrestle for towns and just talks about how he's treated. But it's just, I guess it's somewhat similar. It's just he's taking a heel angle on it instead of like, I can't win and I'm always down, but I'm going to keep fighting. I got tired of that because he kept losing, so I didn't believe it anymore. Yes.
So since he is starting this new gimmick or whatever he's going to have planned,
Yeah.
how long do you think it's going to take until he actually physically wrestles?
I hope it's not until Survivor Series. I want him to wait. I would love for him to run in and attack people and then refuse to wrestle because they don't deserve to face him. There was talk for a while that they were going to do like a shooter club with him and Jack Swagger and Shelton Benjamin, like all guys who legitimately
Great
are
college
shooters that could,
wrestlers, yeah.
and could hurt you, but that never manifested for whatever reason.
Yeah, I do like Dolph when he's with people. Like his time with like Big E and AJ was a lot of fun because he needs someone to bounce off of and he needs someone to grossify him a little bit. Best finisher or top 5 finishers, if we have the time. I don't know.
Tombstone Pile Driver.
Stunner's great because it's just a fun visual, because someone just can just go like that. Or if you're like, you know, Linda McMahon, you can go. I do like submission holds a lot. Whenever I play like WWE video games, I always give my creative character like a submission finisher for some reason. Even though like he's always like this crazy flippy dude, I still end up just doing, I'm going to finish him with a neck hold. But I mean, the last Chancery, I don't know about that. I mean, the Tombstone Pile Driver looks like it should finish somebody off.
Yeah, it looks like it hurts, but it's super safe because the Undertaker takes care of people.
Yeah.
The choke slam too is fun, but everybody does it, so it doesn't feel special. I really like the rock bottom. I like it because you can hit it from anywhere. I like it because of the little bit of theatricality the Rock put into it.
Yeah.
That one always sort of stood out to me.
Red Arrow.
Yeah, that's really good. And what I really appreciate about Neville is that he still to this day has not let anybody kick out of a full Red Arrow. He'll let him kick it out of it from the second rope. And so every time he goes to the second rope, I know it's like, what the fuck.
Did
but
Seth kick out of it?
what's that?
Seth Rollins kicked out of it.
Did he kick out of it?
When they rated Raw, or for when Seth had the belt.
Oh. And that was when Neville's character died.
No, Tozawa kicked out of it, I think.
The full from the third row?
It was for the
Because now he uses the.
All right, okay, guys, I'm a fucking idiot. All right, I get it. All right.
Now,
Bust out the red arrow at like certain times.
yeah. He's a heel now, so he doesn't do it. He does the.
He does the-
Saturn.
yeah.
I'll tell you the worst finisher, the coup de grace.
Yes!
Fucking terrible. All he does is barely jump on a guy, and he's a talented
I
wrestler.
wish you would use the 1916 one.
Yeah.
So.
That's what scares me, because I feel like you could kill somebody with that.
I remember when Finn was like still an indie guy, I remember watching a video on YouTube about like the top 28 moves of Finn Balor, and like 7 of those moves were drop kicks. And I was kind of like, all right, but yeah, I love Finn, but yeah, I get it. Is Wacky Dean, on reflection, the best Dean? Here's the thing, I haven't been impressed by like serious Dean. So, I mean, at least with Wacky Dean, I get sometimes a giggle out of it. Like, I like it when I think him and R-Truth would make an amazing, just confused wrestler duo. Just them as a duo would please me.
They definitely have turned him into Bugs Bunny pretty often. I like him better when he's desperate and mad and dangerous. But I don't even get the danger from him as much anymore because it just doesn't feel like. All right, you're wrestling Brock Lesnar, you're just going to throw a bunch of chairs on him? Like, if you've seen him wrestle, it's not going to stop him. You got to figure something else out. He should be a little smarter and crazy. And I like him a lot.
Well, his moveset looks kind of soft as well. Like, his whole rebound into the ropes and like...
It never works the first time.
It never
Not anymore.
works.
Because it feels like, that I like as a bit of psychology, is that move's been scouted enough that when he does it at first, somebody hits him. Somebody catches him, so they've got to be stunned. It's got to be like a stun, like they're stunned, they hit him, and then that's his rebound move. At least in the internal logic of a match.
Has anyone done the thing yet where he's rebounding, but as he's on the ropes, someone just puts a boot through him and he goes through the ropes?
I think that's been done.
I think that's been done, right?
Sure.
I should do. Yeah. So so that's a no, or yes? I feel like that's a yes. Wacky Dean.
I
Best
think
Dean?
it's a no.
All right.
For me. It's a no for me, dog.
It's a no for me. Who is the monarch of the Wrestle Goths?
Paige?
Paige is, I think,
sort of gothy.
she's kind of.
Jimmy Havoc.
Who's that? Jimmy Havoc?
Yeah.
I saw Jimmy Havoc recently hit somebody with a toilet seat at a show. So I don't know how goth that is. He did sign it for the guy in the audience who caught it after he hit someone with it, so that was kind of cool.
What about Raptor's Sting?
Oh yeah,
I
Crow
mean,
Sting.
come on, he dressed like the Crow, which one of my best friends did in high school. It's pretty goth. He had the makeup on all the time. He seemed sad.
Well, if it's the monarch, yeah, I was just gonna say someone said the Undertaker. I feel like he's
what about Crow Sting?
Yeah.
Sitting in the rafters.
Crow Sting
Crow-
in the rafters.
Crow Sting
yeah.
and-
Raptor Sting.
Come on.
Which one had the longer walk to the
See,
ring?
I don't oh, I've timed Undertaker, but you get squeezed in about 30 minutes worth of matches over the course of 2 WrestleManias that had his entrance in them. I don't think of him as goth as much as I think of him as just an old mortician. And then it became like darkness rather than goth. Like it didn't feel as stylized. And I come from this with no goth experience, so I may be 100% wrong. But what I understand goth to be, I think of Crow Sting.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, I know lots of people love Aleister Black, but
Yeah.
like he seems less goth than actually like undead vampire. Yeah, you got who?
Yeah, Gangrel.
The Brood.
Yeah, Gangrel.
Gangrel,
He's just a
yeah.
straight up, like he was a straight up he's living that vamp lifestyle. Straight up.
Yeah.
Are all vampires goth? That's the real question. Are all goth vampires? No, but are all vampires goth?
Shelly Martinez.
I could really
Martinez.
Shelly Martinez.
What
I
about
could
Rosemary?
Rosemary. Luna was kind of gothy. No. I could actually see Gangrel performing like with on Dragon Con stage.
I'll
Like,
tell you what,
with, like,
let's just troll
with
everybody
Voltaire.
and say Scott Steiner. Holler if you're here.
The no tag rule in Lucha 6-man tag matches. Hal, I know you're an expert. Bullshit or what? Sure.
Wait, can somebody here explain to me what that is?
That's what it sounds like.
Right there, Razor. Scott Hall, sorry, you're in the NWO.
That guy will tell you. So, like, if somebody leaves the ring, somebody else on that team, they don't have to tag to enter the match.
Oh, so whoever's in the ring basically is
If they
legal.
leave the ring, somebody else on their team can just enter. No tag needed.
I mean-
Oh, so that it's not a tag match, it's just an enter the ring match.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You're sure it's Mexico, not me.
There you go.
I mean that's fine. It kind of eliminates a little bit the whole like, oh well, he's not the legal man, so it kind of eliminates that a little bit. But sure, why not?
Wait, sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
No, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I'm gonna come out strong. This is for the people in the Facebook group. I'm sorry. That's dumb. The hot tag is the whole point. That is the build of a tag match. You were trying to get to a hot tag, even in a 6-person match. So when you take that away by going, well, they're out of the ring, then somebody else can come in. Or it's a completely different match. Maybe it's a completely different match.
It seems more like a tornado tag match.
I
in
don't
that
care
sense.
for it.
Okay.
That's my answer.
I won't. I don't know what it is, and I won't listen to it.
Yep.
Which wrestler do you think smells the best? Alexa Bliss will probably smell real good. Nia Jax, I say, probably smells wonderful. Weirdly, Kofi Kingston. I feel like Kofi would smell real good. Because, like, you think with dreads and stuff like that, like he wouldn't smell really good. Although he's more braids than dreads, but yeah, I think he would look. I would think he would smell good.
I think John Cena probably smells nice.
It smells like America, right?
Yeah.
It smells like freedom.
It smells like an eagle.
AJ Styles?
No, AJ Styles smells like petrol fumes and Lone Star beer. That's what AJ Styles smells like. I'd say Roman Reigns probably smells real good too. He probably smells like hope.
Like Martel.
No. You know who I reckon smells awful? Oh, no, I won't say it because he's not in good health. So never
Because he's
mind.
right behind you.
Yeah, no.
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode would probably smell real good. But no, I'd say he smells very strongly of bad, like, cheap aftershaves. But yeah, he's another one. I don't even look at the clock anymore. How has the style and work rate of the independent scene influenced WWE? Has it been positive or negative? Or I should pronounce it dub-dub-E or dub-dub. Because wrestlers seem to lose the ability to be able to pronounce the name of their own brand anymore. You don't know the indie style.
No. I don't know how much I understand the question, because people come in and I think everybody comes into whatever territory and they sort of work that territory style. And then for WWE now, television is a very specific style in which they work. I think people come in and they're able to stretch those boundaries a little bit, and somebody else comes in and they stretch those boundaries a little bit more. So
I mean, they do get
into one another.
They do get influenced, but like it is not a heavy influence. Like, I mean, you could see it like in the ECW days, like when they were kind of championing the extreme style. Like the Attitude Era became like very similar. We got all the tables, ladders, and chairs matches. I think these days it's about athletic, performances. So that's why we're seeing like 15 tope suicidas every week. Because you can't say that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have really changed all that much by coming to WWE. I mean, they're obviously doing less crazy gimmick matches, but I think it's positive because I think indie shows are better than WWE shows. So if the WWE become more like indie shows, I'll enjoy it more. But I don't even think you can recreate it in WWE most of the time. Like the whole indie stuff is just you can't mimic it too much. Why does modern WWE have such a hard time building successful faces? Because Vince is an asshole and he doesn't understand what makes a good person. That would be my But that would be my suggestion. I don't think Vince gets what we like anymore, so therefore you can't build someone who we're going to cheer for because he thinks we like different things.
But I think Austin changed all of that. I think that the anti-hero that Austin was really sort of changed the whole way we looked at heroes and faces.
So
but he was a heel, and then he got cheered so much that he became a babyface, even though he was doing the same
Right,
stuff.
I mean, I think that's where the audience changed, I think is what happened, and I think that they haven't caught up to what makes, it's like Roman, they push so hard as a face, but yet the audience hates him. But now he's gotten to the point where it's turned completely around almost, that people are starting to like him because his work is there. So.
Well, the thing, there is a very common structure with the crowds at WWE events, and like basically, if you're a heel, you get to do fun, heelish stuff that we enjoy watching, and you get to, more often than not, beat up, and so therefore perform a little bit more than the faces, and so we can get behind you, and then we can enjoy it, and then go, this guy's really good at what he does. The problem with faces is that they're not really given a personality most of the time because they're just supposed to be nice.
It's Bailey.
Like Bailey, for example. But Bailey in NXT was absolutely wonderful because they booked her in a way where she just really wanted to be good like the rest of them, and she wanted to prove herself, and so you can get behind that. In WWE, they don't really, like, that should be Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn by now should have a belt because you have that payoff of, he just really wants to do well, you guys. But if you just leave someone as like, oh, he almost did it, and I know everyone says like, oh, well, it's like you can build it up over years, but there's a certain point, and we've seen it time and time again, where you're like, oh, he's just the guy who gets beaten up. Like, why am I supposed to get behind him? And so, yeah, I don't think Vince knows how to, because he gives people promos material. Like, we know this, and and we know sometimes, depending on the wrestler, they can do more things with it than suggested. But I think he knows how to wind people up in the audience. He knows how to piss people off. But I don't think Vince at all knows how, like, to let someone be liked. Because he's not a likable person.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to get invested in any character that you don't know anything about. And Bailey's an interesting example because she had a previous history. So there are people who were fans of hers when she came in.
But the problem
but
is
it wasn't
not
rebuilt.
Yeah.
So for new people, you're getting to a larger audience when you make it to television, and because of that, I think it's hard to bring anybody in as a face. It's just hard to build faces. You need somebody who can build a connection with an audience right away, that you can get behind right away, that you know what they're about right away. And characters are not as simple as that anymore. way easier to build a heel than to build a baby face, which is why you see people who come in as baby faces that don't do well, and then they become heels, and then they get super popular, and then they turn them back. I mean, look at
Jordan.
what's that?
Jason Jordan.
Jason Jordan, good example. His kind of slow turn to heel right now is interesting. I like watching it. What they did with the New Day, where God, talk about guys who were not over at all when they were brought in, but fortunately they were given enough room to turn heel and be themselves, and the three of them are so entertaining and so talented that they were able to get over. They got themselves over, but they couldn't do it as baby faces. And now they're huge baby faces. If they had come in doing back in 2015 or late 2014, what they're doing right now, if they'd come in doing that, I don't know that they would have been as popular. They needed a heel run to build heat, and they were so entertaining as heels that then you start cheering for them and they become baby faces, essentially doing the same thing and just cheating a little bit less. So I would argue it's hard to build baby faces in general nowadays. I don't know that that's necessarily a problem that is just the WWE.
But I think, because I know everyone complains about the, like, don't turn John Cena heel, don't turn Roman Reigns heel, like, they're already heel if the crowd are booing them. And I get it, but if you can unify the crowd, because it's not the whole crowd that's booing Roman Reigns, if you can unify the crowd into booing him, then you can unify the crowd into getting behind him. Because we've seen this happen time and time again. We're not nut jobs. We know he'll be a super huge face when you eventually turn him face down the road. And I think it's more. I think you can get everybody into it if you go that way.
They sell merchandise and they get a reaction. It does not matter what your opinion of their alignment is. It just doesn't matter because they're making money.
But I think you can make more money doing that way. And I think it's like, they don't care. They're going to make money one way or the other, clearly. So why not make a way where you can possibly make more?
The principle of a baby face is you're paying to see them win. The principle of a heel is you're paying to see them get beat. If half of the crowd is paying to see you win and half of the crowd is paying to see you get beat, they're all still paying for you. And
but they're not paying merch.
That's the point. Roman Reigns and John Cena are selling a ton of merch.
They're selling a ton of merch, but like I'm saying, you could sell more merch if there was all the smarts actually got behind Roman Reigns.
I don't think nowadays. I think there are a lot of smart, like people who are super smart fans.
Yeah.
I think are fans of his unless they are holding out just because they're obstinate. I think that people who have a stronger who have a little bit more understanding of the business or more interest, like can get past the he's being pushed at me, realize like, oh, he's actually really good. It sucks that he's had to come along while being pushed to the top of the card. And I would agree there's a point where it's like it's too much, but we're past that now. Look at the work Cena's been doing for the last 3 years. The guy delivered outside of that. I was there for that flag match. I was in Philadelphia. I was 3 rows behind the barricade for that abomination of a flag match. Outside of that, that guy delivers in the ring. Even outside of when he's doing his goofy dad promos. Do not care for those.
Why aren't wrestlers from parts unknown anymore? That's the biggest pop of the night. I love it. I want to know what the population of parts unknown is as well. I want to know how big of a town that is.
I don't know. I feel like Bray Wyatt's kind of from parts unknown. They've never announced where he's from. We don't know where that farm is.
That's true.
You can't put in Sister Abigail's farm on a GPS. Or that weird House of Horrors.
I bet it's that Carney town in Florida.
Yeah.
WWE.com is actually billed as parts unknown.
The 404 page?
Yeah.
Shango's on there, I think the Warrior's on there.
Nice.
Hilarious.
Nice, I like that. All right. What are some of your favorite laughably bad gimmicks?
Shockmaster.
Shockmaster.
Shockmaster. You know what? I don't care. Even if he didn't trip on that frame, which apparently they put that board in between. He had done it once clean, and they put the board in as reinforcement, and then he didn't know and tripped over it. I doubt that would have worked even if he hadn't tripped.
I mean, like, in fairness, fashion cops in idea alone is the dumbest gimmick you can think of. but it's one of my favorite things in the world. I want to give Breezango a hug at the same time.
What about the, was it, oh man, I'm gonna forget the.
Gobbledygooker.
No, the,
Who was that?
the Dungeon of Doom, the Kevin Sullivan faction in WCW. That was pretty terrible.
Drew Carey.
You know what? That was one of the best celebrity Royal Rumble things you'd ever see, because he offered him money and then got out of the ring. It was a good, he was sorbet. You gotta have that in a Rumble. You have to have your little sorbet to cleanse the palate.
Yeah.
Sparky Plug is up there.
Oh,
Sparky?
Thurman Sparky Plug.
I thought you meant Sparkplug Bob Holly for a second.
Same guy.
Oh, it's the same guy?
He was Thurman Sparky Plug first, and then he was Spark Plug Bob Holly.
Okay. Which cruiserweights could be main eventers outside of the cruiserweight division? Neville. I think Alexander is another one that should be used more.
Yes.
Ty Dillinger is not a cruiserweight.
Yeah,
Ty Dillinger should be heavyweight champion of the world in every wrestling division
I would
ever.
buy-
You should have 10 belts.
I would buy Tony Nese. as a
Tony
main event
Nese,
guy,
yeah, very much
Even
so.
though I know nothing about him from watching the show, other than he's got 12 abs. That's the problem with 205 Live. Don't really know many of the people.
Okay, Hal, here's the last questions. You can pick one from the pile for our last question.
This one's folded up. Women's tag belt? That's all it says.
In a better scenario, of course, NXT could probably do it because they've got more women wrestlers to work with. Like, again, if you have 6 women on a brand, a tag belt is like so redundant.
Hire all the Mae Young Classic.
If they hired all the Mae Young Classic people, which would be amazing, that would be great. Yeah, unfortunately the main brands don't have room for it. They should, and it would be great if they did, but right now they don't.
I think you can make room for it. I just think they need more women
Yeah,
on the roster.
and they need to give them more time on
Mae Young
TV.
Classic, which I have yet to start because I wanted to watch it with Aaron. I'm going to make him watch it tonight.
Make an all-girls show.
I know,
Yeah,
but
so-
keep it in the main roster because they're doing
I-
it.
yeah.
Do you watch 205 Live?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. That's more than I watch it.
Yeah, like in theory, giving women like an hour or 2 hours of their own show so we can see them for 2 hours would be great, but we know that in actual working logic of that, it wouldn't work out. But it's a shame because I would love to. And the timer, that's it. We're done. Who won the Rumble?
America.
No, I know who won the Rumble. Roman Reigns.
It was Batista he came in.
Thank you everybody for coming out today. We're going to post a video of this on the Titan Fights Facebook group, so join up and you can watch it again later.
Yeah, you can find me at the Walk of Fame and at a bunch of panels and stuff. Find it. Damn it.